Hi, RAM fans. This is Miley Martin from Student Activities at Fresno City College. And RAM 30 is all about meeting inspirational alumni and community members to hear their story of success. Today, we have with us an alum who transferred from UC Riverside in 2012, and she finished her master's from Sacramento State. Please welcome Cindy Quiralte.
Hi, thank you for having me. Miley, it's great to see you. It's been quite some time since I
It's
have been at City College, but it feels like yesterday that I was riding my bike to campus and, visiting student activities and, meeting for a club rush in the free speech area. So I'm very happy to be here.
It's amazing how time almost stands still. I'm looking at you. You look fabulous. And it's just like yesterday, you were ASG president, 2011, 2012. Time has been good to us. But
Mhm.
you were most recently on the campus when you were the keynote speaker for the Dean's Medallion ceremony in 2019. What was that like for you to come back 7 years later, because you were the Dean's Medallion winner for counseling in 2012, to be honored and to speak to the Dean's Medallion recipients? What was that like?
I think it was very surreal to be back on campus in that capacity. For me, when I started Fresno City College, it was my second attempt at community college. My first attempt, I was trying to manage working part-time as well as taking classes, and that didn't go so well. So, I understand that, when you start City College, it may look different. It may be your first or second time, but that there is a way forward. And so for me, going back at the Dean's Medallion ceremony as a keynote speaker, it was surreal, and it gave me the perspective that anything is possible, and to believe in yourself. And I saw the Dean's Medallions recipients, and I saw myself in that moment. And I remembered very clearly what it was like to be in their shoes, to be committed to their educational experience and having their families by their side to see them in that journey, as well as it was wonderful to see past mentors. Sean Henderson, who was the student activities director, who was also the ASG guidance director during my time there. It was wonderful to see him and past professors, and they saw me as a professional at that point, and I think it was rewarding for them to see me and my growth and development as well.
Personal growth is amazing. Now, Cindy, I know you're a mother, you're a busy working mother, and you're currently the policy advisor to the state superintendent of public instruction. Please share with me, what kind of work you're doing to change policy for public instruction, and how has it been to juggle working maybe from home now and, just getting everything done as a working mother?
So I think, it's no secret. I'm definitely a very proud feminist. And so for me, I think I have always been very clear about my expectations to be ambitious and to reach and push myself. And so as a policy advisor to State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurmond, um, it's given me a rewarding outlook to see the entire state of California, the way they deliver K through 12 public education, as well as even some higher ed focus. So the superintendent also is a board of trustee member for the CSU system, as well as a UC regent. So we definitely are involved in higher education issues as well. So there is never a dull moment, never a dull meeting. Everything is very fast paced, very exciting. Stakes are really high, and majority of the decisions and conversations we have. But I think also being mindful as a young woman of color, as well as a mother, is giving me a different perspective on some of the realities and challenges that women face in leadership, as well as in education. Understanding that there's different challenges that exist, and sometimes those things are not as explicitly expressed to you, but you encounter them through your experiences. So, for example, childcare can be a challenge. If your child is sick. Similar for working parents that are in school, right? Community college sometimes has a lot of parents that go back to school, and they have challenges with meeting expectations in the classroom sometimes. That's also something that's going to help you in your journey going forward, right? And I think for me, being a working mother has been incredibly humbling, rewarding, and I think also validating. So I see my mother in a whole new light. I see other women in a whole new light because I understand the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes before they even get to work, right?
Yeah.
A lot of preparation, a lot of planning goes into every single day. And I think I'm fortunate and privileged enough now that I'm in a position where I work with a lot of working mothers. And so they have given me a lot of grace and a lot of support in the transition. My daughter Olivia is 3 years old, and I've been able to bring her into the office at times. I've been able to work from home if needed. But it is not an easy thing. So I did read, Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In, and talking about that whole mindset. But at times, it's important to also give yourself grace, right? Giving yourself
So
grace
true.
and understanding that every season is different in your life. And so I've been with CDE, the California Department of Education, for 7 years now.
Oh
7.
my goodness. I didn't know
And
that.
yes, I've been here for 7 years. And a lot of times there's this perception that success happens in a straight line and it's one success after another, and that's not the case. There are curves through that process, and understanding that you have to be very committed and have faith in knowing that the season that you're in is for a period of time, and
Mhm.
that things will change.
So
Um,
along with that, you're touching a little bit on the fact that yes, you said 7 years. Oh gosh, she's got it down. It's the same, every day. What have been your personal challenges, both professionally and personally? I know you are a working mom, and that is tough. I mean, can you imagine if your daughter was a little bit older, besides working at home, possibly you'd be homeschooling, kind of virtually teaching your child right now. It's tough. I mean, I just don't know how parents are doing, especially if they've got a couple children. It's a lot of work.
Oh, it's a tremendous amount of work. And so, I think backing up a little bit about my role and my work, what I do as a policy advisor. So, I currently work for State Superintendent Tony Thurmond. He has been in office for a year now. Prior to that, I was a special assistant to the past State Superintendent, Tom Torlakson. And I also want to be mindful explaining that journey how I got here so you can understand is I was a student at UC Riverside, and I participated in a fellowship program at the UC Center Sacramento. And I was placed at the department as a part of the fellowship for 6 months. And in that time, I worked my butt off. This is prior to having a daughter, but I worked my butt off, and I got
Uh-huh.
hired. I got hired as a result. And so understanding that when I first started, I was doing copies, getting coffee, doing like all of the grunt work behind the scenes, the research, the prep work, the admin work. I was very focused. This is where I want to be. This is what I
Hmm.
do. I didn't have family here, but I was very focused on like, this is what I want. I'm going to make it work. And I'm very thankful that I had that mindset coming into this place because it's paid off tenfold. It has been a wonderful experience.
Hmm. So a fellowship, internship, those many times turn out to be where you're hired. Speak
Yes,
to that for students that might consider an internship, or I think it's something you should definitely look into, right? It worked out for
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. So being mindful that there are some perceptions at times that you are working for free, right?
Right.
And sometimes you have to kind of weigh those challenges about whether, you can work or volunteer, right? But it's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your skill set. It's an investment in your future. Networking is essential. So
Exactly.
the department was my third internship. Prior to that, I had interned at Congressman Takano's office, who was also a chairman on the education committee for the US Congress, as well as Assemblymember Jose Medina. So I was very focused and determined to make those connections. I knew a path I wanted to go in. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew the direction. And I just kept on applying to those internships and following up. And following up is gold in any field you go into.
Exactly. At Fresno City College, you were a very strong voice for the student body. And as the student body president, you know, you, I've always known you to be such a focused and strong, young woman. Where does that come from? Where does this drive and this passion and this ability to laser focus in on what you want? Have you always been this way, or did life experiences put you on this path?
I would say life experiences. It's I make no secret about it. In high school, I was considered an at-risk student, and I share that with you because there's always this perception of like, well, you don't understand my experiences. You don't understand some of the challenges, that I've encountered in my community. And so, for me in high school, I was at like 1.0 GPA. I was not a student that was performing well. However, I was dealing with a lot of trauma at home. Right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of factors at play. It wasn't because I wasn't academically able to. It was because of other factors at home that were out of my control to perform. Understanding that, for me, seeing some of those challenges that working parents experience in terms of loss of income. The Great Recession hit. We lost our home. My father lost his livelihood right after working there for about 20 years at a specific warehouse and in Merced, California. And so for me, seeing all those upheavals, seeing that instability really got me to understand, like, I need to figure something out. And my parents, as much as they love me and support me, can't do that for me right now. I have to do it for myself. And so I made it a point to just keep asking. Like, I wasn't shy about asking mentors or professors, and like, this is what I want to do. I don't know how to get there. Can you
Mhm.
help me figure it out? But I've also, encountered a lot of failure. There's a gift in failure sometimes. Like, you figure out a lot about yourself through that process and understanding what you could have done differently,
Mhm.
how you could have handled it differently, how you can grow from situations. And I think it's important to have a growth mindset in these situations and having faith in your own abilities. Um,
Right.
because life doesn't just happen for you. You go out there every single day and try to do your best. And I think for me, seeing the women in my family are very strong-minded,
Good.
and very hardworking, um, and that's kind of giving me my outlook that I can accomplish a lot of things. And I carry that same mindset with my daughter as a mom now.
Mhm. So, was there one particular role model, or did your instructors, did at Fresno City College, or a community member that really said, this is the path to take, or was it really more just trial and error for you?
Um, and there's a lot of mentors in that process. So
Mhm.
there was a lot of professors, a lot of counseling, support system. I was a part of Puente, and I was a part of Mecha, and I actually have one of the books. So the day that I was elected student body president, I was also chair of Mecha, and the Mechistas had gotten me a book to
Uh-huh.
say congratulations, and it was a book by Sonia Sotomayor, you know,
Oh, right.
and they all signed it. Like, they had signed it. Sorry, you can't really see it, but
Huh?
they had
Oh,
all
that's
signed it,
beautiful.
and I have it at my desk with me at work, because I think it's important for me to stay grounded and remember
Uh-huh.
why I'm here, because of a lot of support from my classmates, my machista friends, my puentistas. Um, the counselor was Professor Mateo Espinoza Watson, my counselor Lori Natal, even Sean Henderson, and others that really believed in me because I was scrappy. I was a radical on campus, and they saw something in me, and they said, "No, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna do it." And for me, it's very important to always give back and
Right.
understand that, you know, they may not be the student may not have all of the um, the polished look on certain things or certain approaches that you would like them to be, but if you're committed to helping that student succeed, like I had so many students or how many mentors help me and believe
Right.
in me and guide me, like you can do anything. when you
Mm-hmm.
have that support system. And I think Fresno City College gave me that springboard and
Yes.
that family support to help guide me.
That is awesome. That is awesome. How important is it for students to join clubs while at City College?
That was essential. That was foundational for me. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, it kept me focused on my studies because I think it's very easy if you're trying to work as well as go to school to lose track of some of those things, but you built a network on campus of like-minded folks that are trying to get in the same direction as you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're going to keep you accountable.
Right.
And that was very essential, joining Mecha, Club Rush out there, tabling, as well as Puente, and then ultimately running for student body president. Like, that was a big deal. That was never in the plans. I didn't say one day I want to be president. No, that was just a result of staying involved and seeing the need and then meeting the moment, right? And
Exactly.
I had the support there, and that's how that happened. But I'm just very thankful for professors like Professor Chacon, who also helped me as well. And, I got my associates in Chicano and Latino Studies, and understanding that that's my foundation as as I look at my work every day as a policy advisor. I
Mm-hmm.
think of those students, right, who are facing so many challenges. And so it's incredibly humbling now to be in this role, and then working on a K-12 ethnic studies curriculum. It is profoundly, gratifying to be in this role to give back, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
never thought when I was at City College that I'd be able to do these things, but you can
Uh-huh.
succeed, right? In your own way.
Yes. So you've aligned everything that is important to you and you're where you need to be for right now. You mentioned you're part of Puente, and now you're on the board, the state board. Tell
I'm
me a
on
little bit
the
about, is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, no, it's the statewide
Okay.
advisory board.
Uh-huh. So what advocacy is needed to support Puente students statewide right now? What are you advocating for right now?
So I think, well, I was recently appointed by Superintendent Thurman to serve in that role. I am the first alumni in this role, as well as one of the youngest members of this advisory role, and it's profoundly gratifying as well to be back in that role to help give that perspective for students. Um, right now, there are many challenges, right? COVID and pandemic has really changed the landscape on so many issues. If anything, it's exacerbated the real needs that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially traditionally, Puente serves Chicano Latino students as well as all students from different backgrounds, but it does have that component of Chicano literature in the curriculum. Right now, we're being very intentional about trying to help our students with the digital divide, talking about understanding how to navigate online Zooms and platforms, understanding there are some challenges with language barriers as well as just connectivity, right? And
Exactly.
it,
Connectivity.
it's
It's
the
tough.
basics. So it's incredibly rewarding to work around like-minded, passionate professionals.
Wonderful. So, you've had a journey that you've shared. What advice can you give to students at Fresno City College who want to increase their confidence, find their voice, and go after what they want? What advice can you give students?
Just believe in yourself. Life is hard. There's no doubt about that. Life is hard and it will stay hard, but you
Mhm.
have to become tougher in that process and just refine your vision for where you want to go. I think vision boards are very helpful. I do them regularly to kind of help with my plans for the future, because you have to know where you want to go, right? You have to set a direction of where you want to go, and then you revise that plan as you go along, right? Um, but I think for the advice I would give to students is just know that anything is possible. It really is, and to open your mind and have the mindset of, okay, I can do this. I'll figure it out. What works for me? My path that worked for me, right? So
Mhm.
don't prescribe your plan based off of somebody else's plan. You have to customize your plan based on what your interests are, what your career goals are, and you understand also it's not a straight line. You don't go straight up. There will be bumps along the way, but that's a part of the journey.
Mhm. So now in this pandemic, everything's been turned upside down. Students are finding it difficult and challenging to, take classes online. The virtual format is difficult. I know you've touched on it a little bit, but what else can you say to encourage them to stay with their studies, to get through this semester and maybe into next semester as everyone as the numbers go down and things open up again? What other words of encouragement can you give to students?
I think that I would, some perspective, right? So I think 1918 was the last time we had an influenza flu, right? The Spanish flu. Understanding that this is history, right? This is a moment in time. This is not forever, right? There will be a point where we will get out of this situation that we're in. But looking at this time that you've been given as a gift and refocusing and calibrating your vision of where you want to go, focusing your energy on things you can control, focusing on how to better yourself in this process, because it's very important to not lose focus. This is your timetable may have changed a little bit, but it does not end that process for you. I think also being mindful that everyone is in this together. No one has a plan for this. This is not something that people are doing to be malicious in any way. This is something for safety precautions, right? And understanding that, okay, I can control what I can control as a student. I am going to continue to invest in myself and study and meet this moment online in the way that I can, but also giving yourself grace if you're not as adept online, right? If I took me a while to get used to Zoom platforms, and that's okay. Everybody's struggling in this process, but you will get through it.
Great words of wisdom. I couldn't have said it better. And yes, grace is important. And to take this time, even though it feels like a broken year, take this time and invest in yourself. Continue with your studies. I think it's so important. I know we're all at home a little bit more, but take care of yourself. Self-care. Maybe read a little bit more. Don't connect to social media as much, but think about yourself, the bigger picture, continue with your studies. Everything you shared, Cindy, is awesome. Well, we're about ready to wrap up. Are there any other words of wisdom you want to share that have come to you?
Just know that your journey at City College is just the beginning of a very long, successful journey. And know that you can go anywhere if you put your mind to it. Keep supportive people around you, and amazing things can happen.
Well, thank you, Cindy, so much for sharing your story of success and words of wisdom, great life experience. So Ram fans, we are rewarded for what we create in life. So keep believing in yourself, keep dreaming your dreams, and stay inspired. Cindy, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for
Bye.
having me. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.